All right, good night, everybody. So part of our lecture today was cut off. I thought that that was important, and I didn't want to lose the continuity of the lecture. So I decided to do this video, to have this conversation together. So what we learned so far was that the social condition and economic condition, these two contexts, put two different problems in front of us, and we usually alter our behavior as soon as we realize that the context switches. Think in terms of the Turkish rock or the Thanksgiving dinner gift. So, however, the social realm is not all about the free stuff and gifts. Effort is in there too. Remember, the first example that we discussed was the flat tire. That took effort. So, is that social or is that economic? What's your best guess? Think about it. You can pause the video and think about it before we continue. No, go ahead. Pause the video. All right. So, people usually exchange effort for social to gain social capital. That works. Also, when you are engaging in some effort with other people, there are social norms in place. And I think for those reasons, it could lean towards social. But on the other hand, time is money, at least to some people, and effort takes time. So, what happens is that you can put a price on it. If you took you take an hour of my time, I'm sure you can put a price on it. So it could be an economic question. Now, okay, I don't want you to pause the video because the scientists have actually done the test, and I'm looking at the results now. So you see, there are three scenarios. One scenario, the truffles, they did the truffles this time. So the truffles are for free. The second scenario, every truffle is for 1 cent. And the third scenario, um, you know, you do some simple activity, and for the number of the wins you get a truffle. And so for the first scenario, the free truffles, as you expect, everybody takes one. Some people take more than one, so the average is 1.5. For the second scenario, where people buy truffles, they maximize their profit, so they want to maximize the number of truffles, and the average is 30. For the third one, what do you guess? Do you think it leans towards social or economic? Social or economic? You're right. It is 8.6. It is more towards social. All right. So, what does it mean? What are the marketing applications of this? First of all, if you need to reduce the consumption of some resource, well, instead of letting people pay for it, have them do something for it. So reward them in return for an effort. In this way, it goes from 30 on average to 8.6, and your scarcity of the resource suddenly will not be that big of a problem. Another application is that, well, a lot of you guys in the previous exercise, when we talked about coming up with a business idea, you guys talked about an app that helps people create a habit and win rewards, and then use those rewards to buy products and services in the network of the businesses that the app has. So it's really interesting. Here are the numbers. So 8.6, that's good for a business. So we talked about this. There's one last thing that I want to talk about, and that is a negative side of this. So if you ask me, Mustafa, is there any situation that this would not work, this would not be useful? I would say yes. A couple of years ago, the governments wanted to put incentive for the manufacturers, for the companies to pollute less. So they created this. So the problem is carbon emission, and they put a price on it. um, companies could buy allowance to produce more carbon because of their manufacturing process. And the companies that did not produce, did not emit carbon as much as they were allowed, they could sell the the surplus. So this created an incentive, and they thought that this would reduce the amount of carbon emission in the world. Well, guess what? History shows that it hasn't, and it is still going up because when you put a price on it, the social question that everybody was like, we're gonna die, we're gonna die. This turns into this economic problem of, can we afford it? If we can afford it, if we can put it in our cost structure, then we're gonna do it. All right. So that was futile. So I want you to think about this. You should really be careful in what direction you want to lead consumer behavior, because you want to be in business for 5 years, no, for 50 years. So be careful what kind of customers you're training, and how to train your dragon, if you will, right? Okay. So yeah, this is what I wanted to tell you guys. Have a good night. Don't skip breakfast.